Are you totally into trying to reproduce live sound and that quest to have that reproduction of how a track was originally recorded? Well, my friend, you might have the symptoms of what we call an audiophile, and you've come to the right show. We are going to geek out with MSC's Larry Penn and Chris Van Rye all about the top of the line offering from BRAX, that made in Germany audio goodness, and we're going to get right down to the nitty gritty. And we might even talk a little bit about what it takes to build an audiophile system. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about BRAX. And it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and today, my friends, we are going to totally geek out on audiophile grade gear with none other than both Larry Penn and Chris Van Rye, coming to you from MSC. Fellas, this is one of those shows that I totally look forward to every year because we totally get to, well, how can I say, cut loose and really get into the nitty-gritty of why we love audio gear so much and the music and the audiophileness of it all. Guys, can you tell us what we're going to be talking about in today's show that's going to make this one real special?
I love that term, audiophileness, Ben. I'm going to put that in the new dictionary. What we're going to talk about today, representing the BRAX line by Audio-Tech Fisher, is something that we hold dear to our heart because this line is truly the epitome of high-end audiophile reproduction. So what we're going to do today is talk about how to get that signal into the processor, from the processors to the amplifiers, from the amplifiers to the speakers, and all the connectivity in between.
As per usual, Larry, really excited to get into it with you. But first, a quick opportunity for our partner, SiriusXM, to chime in and remind you dealers out there why you should love it. And when we come back, it's total audiophileness goodness with MSC. Don't you dare go away.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability.
People love it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Now, let's get into it. We're talking audiophile grade gear with MSC. We're talking about BRAX and Audio-Tech Fisher. But before we get into like the hardware, let's back up a few steps, right? Let's understand what it takes to truly have a no-nonsense, no-holds-barred, no-compromise audiophile grade system. And this can be broken down into different steps, different chapters, however you want to say it, but there's different elements at play here. Larry, maybe you can start us off on what is the first step towards that audiophile grade sound.
Well, Ben, a great sounding system always starts with the source, and that depends on how you're going to play it back. So we are all very used to integration in OEM vehicles today. We have talked about that with our multi-channel DSP, our one-to-one channel routing, going post-amplifier installations, and having a very admirable audio quality in our system. But we're taking a step beyond with BRAX and with the audiophile episode on your show today. And so I thought it'd be best to really focus in on what signal is required to start that audiophile goodness that you're talking about. So we're used to the OEM integration, as we talked about. The step up from that is using a nice little preamp device like this that gives us the Toslink digital output here into the rest of the system. And this is going to give you the resolution that the factory system is designed to produce, which is great. But we take it a step further when we get into this audiophile stuff. And that is the high-res recordings can be found on HD tracks or Pro Studio Masters, as you'll see on screen. And that really is the epitome of the recording. Let's be very clear. High-res recordings have to be done in high-res, meaning if it's a terrible recording to begin with, just because it's 96K 24-bit, or further on, or DSD or whatever. If the recording is bad, the recording is bad. Just like there's great sounding 16-bit recordings on CD that are an amazing sounding recording. But what we're talking about today is the potential of the system. And I think that really boils down to things like the digital audio players that we're seeing here. These are two of the Sonys that we use in our listening tests. And we are big fans of HT Tracks. And for our Canadian listeners, Pro Studio Masters and HT Tracks are where you can go buy these high resolution recordings. And it's very important to know that Audiotech Fisher makes the devices that allows you to get that digital signal right into the processor. So if we step back and have a look at a typical audio system, when we're dealing with, let's say, a one-to-one multi-channel post amplifier installation, and we're listening to a digital, even if we're listening to a digital source, it's getting converted to analog inside the head unit, and then analog into digital in our processor, and all the equalization and time alignment is done there. And then we go from digital back to analog to our amplifier section. So we're dealing with many A to D and DDA conversions in that stream. When we use something like a high resolution player like the Sony, and we use our HEC card that is designed, that is designed to plug in, you'll see the USB input there. That is a direct connection to the USB output of your digital audio player. Now you've got to remember you have to have a digital audio player that will output full res digital audio out of the bottom of the unit, and then you can plug directly into this. Now you don't have the convenience. You and I talked earlier that with CarPlay and Android Auto, where audio is very much in the world of convenience, and I'm guilty of that too. But when you put on a purposely designed high-res recording through a digital audio player or through one of the new Alpine in-car players and go direct digital into our products, it is a surprising sound. And I'm not here to tell you which one is better. As I've covered off, there's lots of old analog recordings on CD that are way better than some of the high-res files that I've purchased offline or online. But it's a very important thing to know that we can do that. And we also make a aptX HD compatible streaming Bluetooth card. So this plugs into our processors or our processed amplifiers and allows you to listen to a compatible device that has aptX HD output and get the highest resolution in the Bluetooth world. But again, going into that direct USB input still gives us the best signal. And that's where best recording with the best signal. Let's give ourselves the best opportunity for the best sound quality.
Now, Larry, you mentioned Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and I think we're all guilty of it, myself included. But truly, if we're talking about audiophile grade gear, audiophile means no compromise. And really, we are guilty of being lazy, because back in the day, how much time did we spend, doing mixtapes or putting together playlists? And we just, life gets busy. But if you're going to invest the kind of money and you're absolutely after that apex, top of the line, unequivocal sound, then what you've presented here with that USB direct connection to a digital high resolution media player such as the Sony that you've mentioned here, that has to be the way to go. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about step one, and that is the signal. And without a great signal, how can you possibly expect a great result at the other end?
You're absolutely correct, Ben. We're spending a terrific amount of time in our engineering department pushing the envelope to get the best quality components and listening tests and changing out things to get the best sound quality we possibly can. And you're right, it all starts not only with the source, but the actual signal, the recording that we're listening to. And that's why it's very important that you understand you can throw a lot of money at this gear, but give yourself the best potential by having the best sounding recording potential and the best sounding source potential.
All right. So as Larry has explained, step one, identify and be conscious of the actual source material. But from there, we now have different options to actually extract that and then send it down the line, if you will. So I'm going to go to Chris for this. Chris, explain to us the philosophies, the options that currently exist to optimize that next step of signal.
Well, as we talked, media is a big source coming down the line into these things, but we had to make sure that BRAX, that whole concept, was going to be compatible with everything that Audiophiles were throwing at us. That's why when we came up with the BRAX concept, having that open platform, something totally customizable, was a huge, huge benefit to that category. With that, we've allowed this system to be tailored to each build that it's going into. When a client comes in and specs their BRAX DSP for their system, they're actually able to tailor all of the different inputs and outputs on the device to exactly the build that they're working with. They can add things like that USB input, that high resolution asynchronous capability into it to get the best files off those portable players. We also have a Bluetooth input. If you do need a little bit of that connectivity convenience, you've got an aptX HD Bluetooth platform that can be added into it. But even above and beyond those auxiliary type inputs for BRAX DSP, we gave you a platform that would allow you to tailor the main inputs of this system, available as either analog or digital capabilities. When the system is built, you actually get to tailor which cards get input into the system. This being the digital board here allows you to go through and actually add a coax or digital toslink input into the system itself. So every single stereo pair can be customized to give you exactly what you need. Same thing on the output aspects of it. We've got all of our input boards and output boards available. These can be configured in any mix that you'd like, analog, digital, or a combination of the two. And those technologies are just the starting point into what's been introduced into BRAX DSP. From these guys here, we even get to continue that signal and that mentality down the line by using some proprietary technologies that we've built into the BRAX DSP, which we'll come back to in a couple of minutes.
First of all, I have to mention that this entire BRAX DSP input-output configuration goodness is about as bespoke of an experience as you can get in our audio world, when you can literally check off what you want, how you want it, and all the good and all that stuff. That is amazing, and we're definitely going to circle back on that. But what I want to understand here is when we get from the connectivity, which is great because you've outlined all the different options, we're now talking about the processing. What I want to hear is what makes the BRAX processor audiophile grade. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. Ones and zeros are ones and zeros until they're not. With all of these audio systems, in a lot of cases, we're still dealing with things like analog signals. We're still making sure that we are not missing any of those ones and zeros, and they're being accurately reproduced through the conversions. That's one of the biggest reasons we look to the team at AKM for their new at the time, Velvet Sound D to A and A to D converters. These were AKM's absolute flagship pieces. These were their most immersive, most natural sounding converters that they had available. They were fortunate enough to be able to meet our automotive spec to ensure that we're building still products designed for cars and not home and adapting that over. But that was one of the huge gateways to ensuring that we were able to provide the system that we wanted to and give the sound that a BRAX customer expects. Even above and beyond that, all of that stuff has to be managed internally. BRAX DSP uses 55 different voltage regulators on the power supplies to ensure that every one of these tiny, hyper efficient little components inside gets everything it needs electrically to do its job so that this whole system comes together and delivers as promised.
of course, Chris, you're going to bring up a processor that, like, literally I've never heard of anywhere else besides in conversations with you. But tell us a little bit more about what makes this processor unique and why do you feel it fits within this audiophile grade space?
Well, AKM's converters have been world renowned for an extremely long time. What made this project so unique and what made us one of their featured partners, they've actually got a little section on their website, on the Velvet Sound website, dedicated to the BRAX DSP, as well as some of the other processors that are using their Velvet Sound systems. But one of the big things for us and for them that made this so unique was the sheer quantity of them. BRAX DSP was by far and away above and beyond what they expected in there, using 4 sets of D to A and A to D converters on the input side. Gives us a perfect reproduction, allows us to focus everyone on those converters on exactly what job it's supposed to be working on. AKM was quite shocked when we told them what our initial plans were for this process and what we were going to be doing with them, and they were 100% all in with the chaos that was about to unload in Schmallenberg.
All right, Chris. So we've started with the actual type of file as a source. It's now come through the processor, through those delicious AKM processors, as you mentioned. Obviously, the next stop on this voyage is going to be amplification. Now, again, what is BRAX or Audiotech Fisher doing special at this point when it comes to getting the signal into the amplifier, well, to be amplified?
Well, continuing to send that signal down the line was not a task taken lightly by the Audiotech Fisher team. As we had mentioned, the bespoke design of BRAX DSP allows you to configure digital outputs as well. But when we do digital outputs and we continue to operate in the digital domain, there's always one big compromise that comes into play, and that is volume. Volume commands in the digital domain are always a problem because it can really only happen one way, and that's by stripping bits of information out. We're effectively compressing that signal down. Well, when we compress a digital signal and we take information out, we're compromising the sound quality. BRAX has never been about compromises and never will be. So we had to find a better solution available to still deliver this top tier process. That's where we came up with our own proprietary technology we refer to as DISAC. What that basically allows us to do using those digital outputs over the digital coax or the toslink connection is actually embed a carrier signal. And that allows us to transmit volume information down those pre-existing lines directly out to things like our MX4 Pro amplifier. Now through that, we're actually able to take that embedded signal, decode it in the amplifier, and use it to control the output of the amplifier as opposed to controlling the signal level. It's never taking bits or never taking information out. We're leaving that digital signal full scale with every bit of information available to it and managing that volume at the output stage of the amplifier. That's a very small little detail that has a huge impact on making sure that we stick to the audiophile purities that we're looking for when designing an audio system. That allows you to take that digital source right from the beginning, those high quality media files that Larry was talking about, keep that digital audio feed right through the processing in the BRAX DSP, through the output stage, right to the end at the BRAX MX4 Pro, where it's output to the speakers without ever compromising the audio signal in any way.
Ah, yes, and we have finally arrived at where the digital becomes analog once again to get to our ears. And of course, I'm talking about the drivers, aka loudspeakers, and BRAX absolutely rounds out this offering, all made in Germany, and the jewelry involved in this next part of the conversation is impeccable, might I say. So Larry, please, in your words, help us understand what BRAX is doing different to absolutely make sure that the final output that we actually hear, through sound waves is right there with the rest of the system.
Ben, the BRAX speakers, I just don't have words to explain it. We can talk about all the superlatives that we want, but I gotta invite all our listeners to have a listen to a couple cars that have been done with that. For those of you that are going to be at MasterTech in March this year, we're going to have a couple cars outfitted with that, including the new C8 Corvette from Titan Motorsports that they just finished. I've got some quotes that I'll read you back from Ray West at Titan and also Matt Schaefer at Mosaic Sound Effects in regards to the BRAX speaker line. But just to show you a little bit of eye candy, there's two lines within the BRAX speakers. There's the Matrix ML series and the GL series. Sorry, I had pulled the wrong one up to show you there. This is the high-end Matrix series, which is on the same level as the MX4 Pro. Gives you an idea of the build quality of the product. When you have a little bit of extra time, those of you who are listening today or watching with us, the BRAX speaker is co-developed with a company out of Germany called Kurt Mueller Speaker Design. And Kurt Mueller has been designing cones, surrounds, spiders, that type of stuff. They just celebrated their 100th anniversary in business in 2022. And we're one of their long-standing customers. They're not that far away from the factory. Actually, nothing. When you talk to Heinz Fischer, as we had him on one of the shows before, all his buddies have little shops around that do all of the speaker technology. So with the woofer, both in the Matrix and the graphic line, there's little microspheres, air-filled microspheres that are encased in a resin here. And that is to strengthen and help dampen the hand scoop pulp cone that we use in all of the BRAX mid-range and mid-bass loudspeakers. So that is the Matrix line, and then this is the graphic line. So you'll see a lot of similarities between the two products. Again, both built in Germany, both use all the Kurt Mueller spiders and cones and surrounds. When we get to the mid-range, We've got some pretty unique things. This is the GL3 along with the mated ML3. The unique thing on the ML3 that I'll show you is the magnet assembly on the back. This is designed with push-pull neodymium magnets. So I don't have any steel here, but you could take a metallic substance and put the speaker up against it, and there's no interaction with that metal structure to the motor assembly of the driver. So we're putting these in a car and we're mounting them into a metal substructure, even if we're using a baffle, which we always do. But there's that metallic material around the speaker that's always going to play havoc with the energy and the gap of the loudspeaker. This dual push-pull neodymium magnet assembly solves that issue. Then we get into the newest driver in the mid-range line is the GL2. So this is referred to as a wideband driver. It's an aluminum cone on this guy, again, designed by Kurt Mueller, built in Germany. And the response we've been getting from this little driver is phenomenal. It'll play down to, we've used it to 300 Hertz, no problem. And I was just in Germany touring the factory and looking at product planning over the next few years. And I got to hear a car with a pair of these on axis up high on the dash and the 6-inch bass driver in the door, and was blown away what happens when you have as close to a point source loudspeaker as possible just with one driver. The imaging and the detail in the soundstage was just incredible. So something to look at very seriously. And when we get to the tweeters, there's two different tweeters, but again, kind of the same design. This is the graphic tweeter, and this is using a ceramic dome. And then we have the ML tweeter, which is using a soft silk dome and proprietary coatings and everything on there as well. Both of these are going through a little metamorphosis within the next year to bring a little bit more ingenuity to the product line. So we're very excited about that. And I guess that's one thing about that, talking about my trip to Germany, is, you know, a lot of companies are abandoning the super high-end part of the mobile electronics world, saying that it isn't selling or people don't want it, but we are investing heavily. You're going to see stuff coming from BRAX in the next year or two that are going to blow you away. It's coming from our new factory. We're doubling the size of the factory this year, and I got a guided tour by Julian and Gudrun and Heinz Fischer showing us where all the new engineering is going on. There's 5 engineering labs in there, speaker assembly plant, vehicle testing area, training area. It's going to be a world-class facility. So we want to try and somehow get our dealers out to see that, because it's going to be second to none from any other mobile electronics company that we've worked with.
All right, Larry, I got some questions about these speakers. First, let's talk about that mid-range. Just to clarify, was that a dome mid that you were showing off there? And my second part of my question is, what is the configuration option? Is everything a la carte? Are there any passive crossovers available? Or is this a strictly active type of setup where people can pick and choose exactly which drivers they want?
They're currently available in the 2 and 3 inch mid-ranges. All 3 of them are cone-based mid-ranges. BRAX did make an ML2, which was a 2-inch dome mid-range, but that has since been discontinued. The advantage of the cone mid-range is it plays a lot lower, so we can get more of the detailed information up on the top of the dash and the A-pillar, or in the top corners of the dash. So much lower FS on the cone mid-ranges. So that's why we went that way. As far as how these are sold, every pair of drivers is custom mated to the other one. So there's one serial number that relates to both drivers. They're paired in the factory and matched to their closest counterpart, and that's the way they're packaged together. And like all BRAX product, these have a lifetime warranty on them as well. And when the BRAX product is sold, it's logged into a little book at Audiotech Fisher, so they know exactly where that serial number was shipped to for the warranty purposes. All of them are designed for active systems. We're talking the pinnacle of absolute top-end fidelity in the audiophile world, and the way you can achieve that is with BRAX DSP running through DISAC into our MX4 Pro. It just doesn't get any better than that.
All right, gentlemen, fantastic job in walking us through literally step by step of how important is every component in the system, exactly how Audio-Tech Fisher and BRAX handles each one of those pit stops, if you will, for the signal. Now, let's bring it all back. First of all, I can't help but stare at those gorgeous boxes in the back, so hopefully you can tell us a little bit more about that. But summarize for us, let's bring it back all here. What are the main points, the takeaways that people need to understand when it comes to investing in a system as high fidelity as BRAX is?
Well, it's nice to have you use the word investment, because that's truly the way we look at the BRAX product line. This isn't just another piece of electronics stuffed in a cardboard box, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But to wrap it all up, Audio-Tech Fisher was founded on BRAX. If you remember, there was the old BRAX capacitor, stiffening capacitor, that Heinz brought to market quite a few years ago, right around 30 years. And that has developed into one of the world's most high fidelity, most respected audio companies in the world, and specializing in DSP. But where they really got known and what really pushed it forward was that audiophile type product with the BRAX line. And we continue that. So when we look at how the stuff is engineered in Germany by our own people, by our own staff, in the building, on our payroll. It's designed there, it's built there, it's tested there. Every product goes through the Audio Precision Analyzer, and the BRAX DSP, forgive me, I don't remember the exact model numbers of the Audio Precision Analyzer, but we had to work with Audio Precision to get an analyzer that would measure the results from the BRAX DSP when it was introduced, because our previous Audio Precision Analyzer wouldn't measure that high. So they've done an amazing job at the engineering of this. The partnership with AKM and Velvet Sound, giving us the best A to D and D to A conversion known to man. Then we get into technology like DISAC, and being able to send that full-scale digital signal from beginning to end as digital, and only converting it at the outputs of the amplifier back into the analog world, and controlling the volume in the analog domain, not in the digital domain, as Chris has explained, where we're picking out bits of musical information in order to get the volume scale down. So that, combined with the build quality, combined with the partnerships with Kurt Mueller, and all of the parts that we use built in Germany, not just we assemble it in Germany, everything is designed in Germany through little subcontractors, very, very close to the factory. That to me is special in my heart. That to me, when every BRAX product that we sell or we put it in our proof of concept retail store, just gets my heart pounding with excitement of the potential of the end user to have that big grin and some goosebumps on his arm. And back to those boxes, Chris has got one here. So as I say, we just don't put it in a cardboard box. If you look at the edge, all those edges are mitered and the grain matches. So these aren't just pieces of wood hammered together. This is designed, even the wood is designed so when the box goes together, all the grain matches around the whole thing. And that kind of epitomizes to me the commitment that BRAX, Audio-Tech Fisher, and MSC put towards what we feel the best audiophile gear available.
I want to take this opportunity and thank my two guests today. Of course, Chris Van Rye, the DSP cowboy himself, and Larry Penn, both from MSC on both sides of the border in Canada and the US. Please, if you want more information on any of the products covered today, Audio-Tech Fisher, BRAX, make sure you check out the website right here. And if you want to become a dealer, well, those are the guys you need to call, whether you're in Canada or the US. Please make sure you get a hold of the team at MSC to become the next Audio-Tech Fisher or BRAX dealer. Now, in my closing comments, man, what can you say about BRAX? BRAX is a legendary name from the get-go. You heard Larry make reference to those huge high-end caps. We all remember when they came out, and we were all, in wonder of how they could charge so much for something that we didn't understand. Well, here they are decades later, and I have to say the following. Many brands out there can charge a lot of money for gear. It's one thing to charge. They can make it pretty. They can make it look really nice. Sound, of course, is paramount. There's no question about it. But the one layer that I feel Audio-Tech Fisher and BRAX in particular adds to this whole mix is the consumer purchasing experience. Not often can we talk to our customers and come in and offer them a truly bespoke experience from the hardware. Of course, as fabricators and custom installers, we're going to do our best to create them a one-of-a-kind environment for their vehicle. But when it comes to ordering the gear, the options, the thought, the details, and layer that in with all the technology that Audiotech Fisher obviously puts heavy emphasis on, with the cherry on top of that all being made in Germany, you're going to be hard-pressed to impress your customer with a brand that has spent so much effort into impressing them. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.